Tonight, Mark Carney's surprise visit to Ukraine on Independence Day. The Prime Minister's pledge.
We will be there with you to promote peace, security, and prosperity for Ukraine once the killing stops.
What role Canada could play on the ground. Fire evacuations lifted. How people in Newfoundland are handling being back home.
It was nice to step inside the house, but it was very airy coming down the road.
And Brooke Henderson swings to success.
The comeback is complete for the Pride of Canada.
A second victory on home soil. What this win means for her historic career.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Mark Carney made his first visit to Ukraine highly symbolic on the nation's Independence Day. Meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky, he revealed new details of where exactly Ottawa's financial support will go, while also discussing security guarantees. CTV's Abigail Beeman on the Prime Minister's pledge and the possibility of Canadian troops on the ground in Ukraine.
But Putin can be stopped.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was the guest of honor at Ukraine's Independence Day with a message of reassurance for Ukrainians.
When that peace comes, and it will come, that day will come, Canada will be there.
The Prime Minister offered new details about the $2 billion promised to Ukraine at the G7, money for ammunition, armored vehicles, and drones, including made-in-Canada drones, some equipment arriving next month. Canada will pay for a $680 million NATO-requested package of American military equipment, and there's $31 million in humanitarian aid. And at a press conference after the speech, he was his most specific yet about Canadian commitments for security guarantees in a ceasefire.
We are working through with our allies in the Coalition of the Willing and with Ukraine the modalities of those security guarantees. On the land, in the air, and the sea, and I would not exclude the presence of troops.
And that should encourage Zelensky, but at the same time not discourage the United States, but also sends a strong message to Russia that they can't do what they're doing.
The two leaders signed an agreement, and Zelensky said he was grateful to Canada and Carney, especially for drones, which he said are the #1 priority, helping to save lives on the battlefield.
Our European allies, Canada, are coming together, recognizing that they're going to have to do much more to support Ukraine in order to achieve that elusive ceasefire and hopefully an eventual peace deal.
In his speech, Carney referred once again to what he calls U.S. President Donald Trump's transformative leadership, and he invoked another American president, Ronald Reagan. Carney saying with Russia, it's now not just about trust but verify, but now it's deter and fortify. Heather?
Abigail Beeman in Poland tonight. Thanks. In the U.S., the Trump administration is denying suggestions that Russia is not interested in a diplomatic resolution to the war.
I think the Russians have made significant concessions to President Trump for the first time in 3.5 years of this conflict. They've actually been willing to be flexible on some of their core demands.
Meantime, Russia's foreign minister denied U.S. President Trump's claims that a meeting between President Zelensky and Vladimir Putin will happen soon.
Putin is ready to meet with Zelensky when the agenda would be ready for a summit. And this agenda is not ready at all.
Dozens of Russian prisoners were released today into Belarus as part of the latest prisoner exchange. Dozens of Ukrainians were also freed and returned home after talks mediated by the United Arab Emirates. Back in this country, Ukrainian Canadians are staying resilient on Independence Day.
The pressure must continue on the Canadian government, on our allies. The pressure on Russia must be escalated to make it stop its illegal invasion.
Ukrainians are very resilient. They're hard workers. They're tough people. They will overcome. However, at the cost of many lives. And that's the sad part.
Israeli warplanes and tanks are pounding parts of Gaza City ahead of plans for a full-scale assault. The Hamas-run health registry says nearly 64 people were killed and nearly 300 injured in the past 24 hours. Israel's prime minister has vowed to defeat Hamas and has defied international criticism over the plans to expand the war. Ottawa's Pride Parade was cancelled today after a pro-Palestinian group disrupted the event, calling on organizers and the city's mayor to meet their demands. Here's CTV's Natalie Van Roy.
The group Queers for Palestine Ottawa blocking Ottawa's annual Pride Parade Sunday afternoon, bringing the festivities to a halt.
We had staged a disruption of the parade to say our demands to both Capital Pride's executive director and board of directors and to the mayor. We were looking for apologies from the mayor in particular for boycotting last year and for encouraging other powerful institutions to boycott the parade.
The group halted the parade to demand the apology from not only the mayor, Mark Carney, but also other organizations that pulled out of the Capital Pride events last year when organizers issued a statement condemning Israel.
The mayor said he would not come up and talk to us, and even when communicated that the parade would then disperse if we didn't move, he still refused to come up and talk to us.
In a statement, Ottawa's mayor said in part, "It's deeply regrettable that a group of activists chose to block the parade, ultimately leading Capital Pride officials to cancel the event. My heart goes out to the many people in our city who were deprived of the opportunity to participate in this celebration of joy, resilience, and community." The parade traveled from City Hall along Elgin to Wellington Street, where it was halted by protesters at O'Connor Street.
I am sad I didn't get to march, but I'm definitely way sadder for the people who are experiencing a lot of hardship over in Palestine, and this is a way to get a really good message out.
Speaking before the disruption, Capital Pride's executive director said they were excited for the new route in front of Parliament.
We're really excited that we're reclaiming Wellington. It's a really important place in the 2S LGBTQ+ community for protest. We've got a lot of really important victories won through protesting.
Before the parade was halted, Mayor Mark Carney said city officials were happy to take part again. Organizers said 175 groups and more than 6,000 people were registered to take part in the event. Natalie Van Roy, CTV News.
Late tonight, the parade organizers released a statement saying the group, quote, refused to have a meaningful discussion about how to move forward, and went on to say that they were left with no choice other than to cancel the event. An evacuation order has expanded as a wildfire burns in West Dalhousie, Nova Scotia. The Long Lake fire has now scorched more than 32 square kilometers. While in Newfoundland, some evacuees are back home tonight with conditions deemed safe enough for people to return to parts of Conception Bay North. CTV's Garrett Berry on the emotional homecoming.
There's just no place like home. After 2 weeks away, Harold Peach and his wife Diane are putting their life back in order, feeding the fish, emptying the fridge, and cleaning the greenhouse where most everything died in their absence, while they were under evacuation orders and waiting to return home in Newfoundland's Conception Bay North.
We were up early, went to bed early, but the day was very long. All I did was read.
One of the first pieces of business, putting back all the family photos, which were whisked away from the house when an out-of-control wildfire forced everybody out of Salmon Cove.
It was nice to step inside the house, but it was very eerie coming on the road. There was 5 vehicles with us, and it was just like we were coming into a ghost town, like there was no life here.
The evacuation orders are set to be lifted in stages. Officials say some towns are just much more damaged and require a lot more cleanup before it's safe to go home.
This afternoon, another round of evacuees from Perry's Cove were told they could head back.
I don't know if I'm going to sleep because I'm still a bit on edge, but you know, it's going to be a while before I get back to normal.
It will take a while for the outside world to get back to normal too. Helicopters continue to buzz overhead. Smoke still drifts from hotspots, and the woods bear the burns of this fire.
When the road is open all the way down the shore, will feel a bit more normal for me. When they're saying the fire is completely out.
It's a tightly knit area, lots of connections up and down these roads, so the worry is far from gone. But Harold and Diane did get a bit of time to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary in their own home with family today. Garrett Berry, CTV News in Salmon Cove, Newfoundland and Labrador.
This was move-in day for tens of thousands of post-secondary students across the country getting settled into their new campus dorms. But this year marks a significant drop in the number of international students moving in, with the government-imposed cap on study permits now in its second year. CTV's Kamal Karamali on what this means for schools and students.
Boxes, crates, and suitcases stuffed with anything.
This is all my stuff.
And everything.
Some pillows, some bedding, fridge over there.
It's move-in day for these first-year post-secondary students, and there's change everywhere, including in the number of international students on campus.
It is kind of sad. A lot of international students dream of studying abroad.
Here at Toronto Metropolitan University, among all first-year students, there's been a noticeable drop of international students, roughly 1,100 first-year students in total this year. More than 80% of those are from across Canada, with 17% from abroad, most of them from the United States.
We've seen it a little bit higher. We've seen more like 20-25% the last few years. So it's a bit of a dip from that.
Ram Kanakamadala, a fourth-year student from India, seeing more foreign students graduating than they are coming in.
I have a sister. She might be wanting to study abroad, and caps like this are affecting her.
Early last year, the federal government announced a 2-year cap on international study permits approved, reducing it by roughly 35% for 2024 and by another 10% for this year, citing strains on the housing and healthcare system. Those keeping track of the numbers say there's far fewer permits than that being approved.
So there was a small decrease in 2024, and then another 60% decrease in the number of new students approved to attend Canadian universities in the first quarter of this year.
Housing reports have showed a reduced demand for rental properties, resulting in a drop in prices. Ottawa has pointed to that as proof the cap is working. But others say Canada is losing out on a robust future workforce.
They, in fact, help pay for more spots for Canadian-born students to attend university because international students pay higher tuition fees.
Back on campus, those gaps left behind by fewer international students.
For us in residence, we're seeing more GTA students than we've seen before.
Now filled by local ones. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Golf star Brooke Henderson has ended a 2.5-year drought, winning the Canadian Women's Open.
The comeback is complete for the Pride of Canada.
The Smiths Falls, Ontario native edged Australia's Minjee Lee by 1 stroke to win her 14th LPGA title. She also becomes the first Canadian since 1914 to win the national title twice.
Oh, it feels so amazing. I've been feeling like I've been waiting for this win for a long time, and to get it here at home in Canada is extremely special. And I just can't thank all the fans enough for being out here and supporting me all week. It was so cool. I had so many people cheering for me, and I really felt the energy and I really felt the momentum. I'm just really grateful for all their support.
TSN senior reporter and golf analyst Bob Weeks watched it all unfold earlier today.
The win for Brooke Henderson came after a long drought. The last time she won a tournament was January of 2023, and she admitted that there were some dark times. She wasn't sure she'd ever get back into the winner's circle. So for her to do it again and to do it on home soil is rather spectacular. Now, it didn't come easily. Sunday's round was not her best round of the tournament. She played really well Friday and Saturday to set up this rush. But she missed some short putts early on that sort of looked like, well, maybe the putting isn't going to work so well today. She also hit 3 trees. Now, each time she was able to recover, and she got some good lucky bounces in there, so that maybe shifted things to saying, yeah, well, maybe this will be her round. I saw her stand over her putt on the 14th hole, and she normally takes a little time to line something up, but this time she was really looking at it. This was a putt for birdie that would put her 1 up against Minjee Lee, who she was going head-to-head with. And she rolled that in, and from that point on, she was not going to be beaten. She was grinding it through. So for her to hoist that trophy, this is an absolutely wonderful moment for Brooke Henderson and Heather for Canadian golf.
TSN's Bob Weeks for us tonight. Coming up after the break.
There's a direct hit on the cost of our cans.
What's on tap for a Canadian company amid brewing trade uncertainty? Plus, a British rock powerhouse makes its long-awaited return to the Canadian stage. Relief from the cost of counter tariffs is on the way next month for some sectors, but levies will remain in place for other areas, including on steel and aluminum, which is taking a toll on a wide variety of businesses. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has more on their sustained struggles.
At this Ottawa craft brewery, there is no relief in sight yet from the tariffs imposed on a key component of their business.
There's a direct hit on the cost of our cans, and we sell a lot of cans, in-house, to restaurants and to different retail spots.
The cost up 8 to 10 cents per can, a financial burden this business owner is carrying for now.
We're trying to be nimble. We're eating the cost of those cans right now, and then we'll take it from there.
The counter levies on U.S. steel, aluminum, and autos will remain unchanged after September 1st. And while they come with a cost for some businesses, they're a lifeline for steel producers in Canada, feeling the full effects of Donald Trump's trade war.
Right now, more than 55% of our export have melted.
The Canadian Steel Producers Association says it would like to see countermeasures increased.
We would be able to recapture those shares that are now currently held by American producers in our own market.
But back at this brewery, while here the counter tariffs are costing, it's the intangible impact of the uncertainty that's hardest to deal with.
The upfront cost is easy to measure, but the uncertainty part, we know it's there. How big of impact it is, we're not sure. So again, we're trying to do what we can to make the best of it.
And that uncertainty, for now at least, remains. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he won't rule out increasing tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum in the future. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
There's been a major escalation in U.S. President Donald Trump's so-called crackdown on crime in the U.S. Capitol. As of this evening, U.S. National Guard troops patrolling the streets of Washington, D.C. will begin carrying pistols and rifles. Hundreds of unarmed troops have been on Washington streets for the past 2 weeks after Trump declared a crime emergency in the district. Trump has also hinted at deploying troops to Chicago and Baltimore. Democratic lawmakers have condemned the plan and accused Trump of attempting to manufacture a crisis. Still ahead, a rock and roll reunion 17 years in the making. Fans go supersonic as a British supergroup returns to Canada. You're gonna be the one that saves me. The long wait for Oasis fans in Canada is finally over. The British rock band is back on stage in Toronto tonight for the first time since 2008. CP24's Melissa Duggan is outside Rogers Stadium. Melissa, what is it like down there tonight?
Heather, the first of 2 Oasis concerts happening in Toronto tonight. This, by the way, the only Canadian stop on the iconic British rockers tour. The brothers behind the band, Noel and Liam Gallagher, known for their hits, but also known for their rocky relationship that led to the band's breakup back in 2009. This, their first reunion tour since then. Fans not looking back in anger. They're giving them a warm welcome.
So excited. We've come a long way for this and I can't wait.
Why is Oasis the band you got to see?
They are the band to see, that's it. You can't replace them.
We were supposed to see them 17 years ago, and we had to get rid of our tickets. My cousin Michael was the beneficiary, but now, 17 years later, almost to the day, we've been waiting for this.
Seriously pumped. I've been waiting for this reunion for 20 years, and people have said it'll never happen, but look at this, it's happening. I'm here tonight. I'm here tomorrow night.
Oasis playing a new venue in Toronto, Rogers Stadium, opening in the city's North End earlier this summer. Capacity here at about 50,000. The second concert for Oasis, also a sellout, happening tomorrow night before the band heads south of our border. Back to you, Heather.
Melissa Duggan for us in Toronto. Thank you. The tennis world is buzzing with a historic U.S. Open starting today. 5 Canadians are seeded in singles. The first time ever at a Grand Slam event. Leylah Fernandez from Laval, Quebec, beat Vancouver's Rebecca Marino in straight sets in the first round women's singles today. Tomorrow, rising tennis superstar Victoria Mboko takes to the court after her impressive win at the National Bank Open. And tennis legend Venus Williams will also return to the court tomorrow and become the first 45-year-old to compete in singles in New York since 1981. Still ahead, solving a military mystery. How an ocean-spanning quest helped ensure that a Canadian hero's bravery will never be forgotten. We leave you tonight with a heartwarming update to a story we first brought you earlier this summer about a Saskatchewan historian making it his mission to reconnect war medals with veterans' family members. As Alison Bamford explains, the latest search made its way overseas.
So we have the France and Germany Star, we have the Atlantic Star, we have the Africa Star, we have the Service Medal, and then the 1939 War Medal. So this was what's called a full set.
A full set of Second World War medals and a couple black and white photos tell the story of a man in uniform.
The uniform he was wearing showed he was an officer, so that gave, he must have been in service quite some time. The medals tell the story of where he served and what he did while he was serving.
His name, George Mann, a British sailor in the Royal Navy. John Brady MacDonald came across the veteran's belongings in an Edmonton medal collection.
I reached out and managed to get them into my care and began the search of trying to track down his family.
The search spanned 4 months, garnering hundreds of tips, eventually leading to a connection all the way in Liverpool, England.
When they do and the pieces of the puzzle start fitting together, it feels like mission accomplished.
We were all delighted and a little bit shocked, really.
Jane Craig never met her great-uncle, only hearing bits and pieces from her mother.
I knew of him and obviously knew that he was in the war, but that's all that I really knew.
Mann came from a big family, with 4 brothers and 5 sisters. He immigrated to New Brunswick after the war, marrying Alice Margaret Silver in 1948. Pieces of a story Craig wants to complete.
We'll definitely be able to now delve a little bit deeper into it.
The medals and photographs are now on their way to England. When they arrive, this will be the 11th set of war medals that MacDonald's returned. He's still searching to find the homes of another 3 sets.
Let's ensure that what they witnessed is never forgotten again.
And MacDonald's actions aren't likely to be forgotten either. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
That is our newscast for this Sunday. I'm Heather Butts. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Sandy and Omar will be here for your early and late edition of CTV National News tomorrow. Good night.